Hey everyone, welcome back to Bird Talk with Terrence Mathis. I'm William Brandon. Please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel Atlanta Sports Unlimited and turn on those notifications so you don't miss an episode. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the simplest sports fantasy game on the market. You can pick from multiple platforms. And get this, sign up using the code ASU and Prize Picks will 100% match your initial offer up to $100. Download the app for free at the Google Play Store or the App Store. Well, Terrence, these Falcon games are beginning to feel like Groundhog Day. It seems like we're just the same type of finishes week in and week out. What's
I
going
told you
on?
this. I told you this is the Cardiac Kids 2.0. This team, here's the thing. When we started talking about this Falcons team earlier in the year and even late last year, we
Mhm.
were not. Here's the thing. Even fans, we weren't expecting this team to be 3, 4 games over 500 at this point. We
Right.
thought they'd be right where they should be right now.
Mhm.
Now they're losing games uncharacteristic, uh, whatsoever. But at the same time, this is a team that's still retooling and getting better as it goes. If you ask uh, Arthur Smith right now and Fontenot right now, are they on track to where they want to be? They're gonna probably tell you yes, they are on track. And this is a young team still trying to find a way to gel together and finish football games. As I posted last week, um, I said the team that wins the turnover battle will win the football game.
Yeah.
And there it was. In the fourth quarter, we lost 2 turnovers, and we lost the football game. That's how close these games are week in and week out. So it's just that much difference in winning a football game, and the team that pays attention to detail and focuses more at the end of games will win football games. So that's what you should expect for the rest of the season with this team. Now they're going to get healthier as the season goes on, and that's going to be good, especially for a playoff run.
Mhm.
But right now, this team is exactly where we thought they would be at this time.
And in case you missed it, everyone, the Falcons did lose to the Chargers 20-17. It was a back and forth game, and honestly thought the Falcons were going to win at the end, and then
Mhm.
Twycon Graham fumble.
Right.
In practice, is that something you tell the bigger guys like, "Hey, man, if you get the ball, just go down," or
Well,
they just
you know what? Big guys practice scooping and scoring,
Mhm.
and they practice scooping the ball up and scoring. That's one of those dream situations for a defensive lineman is
Mhm.
to pick one up and scoop and score. So they're not thinking about falling on a football. Excuse me. They're thinking about picking up and scoring. Now,
Mhm.
at the same time, your hands are all you got tape on your hands and all those things that you've been playing, and your arms are a little slippery. Yeah, I can. He's not used to carrying the football, and he just dropped the football. And I know he felt terrible afterwards. And it's a shame when people look at one play and says that was the reason we lost the game. But at the end of the day, that's not the reason you lost the football game. There was other factors in that football game that cost you that football game. We could. I always said there's 2 or 3 plays in a football game that can win or lose a game. We miss a
Mhm.
field goal, the Drake London fumble, and then the fumble recovery, fumble. That's
Mhm.
3 plays right there that could have mounted into scores for your football team. And so it's one of those things you got to look at. Uh, of course, there's going to be times where you go, I can't believe there's a 3 and out.
Yeah.
You can't believe we had a 3 and out in that situation. Do you forget that team across you are professionals too? that's that's their job is to try to stop you. So you can't for a football team when you have 3 and outs, you got to understand at some point we got to move the chains and drive down and score points. And I think in that last 6.5 minutes where we had an opportunity to drive down and we had 5 plays and punt and
Mhm.
whatsoever and those things, but uh, it was one of those games where it was a really wacky game. It's who the Falcons want to be. They want to lull you to sleep, pound you, and then beat you in the fourth quarter. And that just didn't happen for this football team
And
against the Chargers.
let me ask you this, because we spoke off about the return of Patterson. Patterson came back. He did get 2 touchdowns, but we talked about how him coming back in might disrupt maybe the flow of things right now. How do you think Patterson was involved? Do you think it was a good involvement, or do you think it kind of played a impact on our passing game or lack thereof?
Well, I thought it was a lot of energy with him out there, and I thought, wow, that first drive, and I thought it was energy, energy, energy. But here's the thing, and that I quite don't understand. He gives you that injection of energy, and then we don't see him for 2 or 3 series.
Yeah,
And I'm going, what is going on? Is it him? Or is it coaching? Is it I don't know. If if I'm that guy that brings that much energy, I want to be on the field at least 70 to 80% of the plays. And I don't see that happening. And at the end of the day, yes, I understand other guys need carries whatsoever, blah, blah, blah. But if he's your guy, he
yeah,
needs to be on the football field carrying the ball. Now, Algier did what he had to do. He had 90 plus yards rushing the football. So the other guys did what they're supposed to do. But at the same time, that guy that gives you that shot in the arm needs to be on the field more often. Even if he's just playing in the slot or playing wide receiver, that causes the defense to pay attention to him. That will help the running game and help the passing game for the others. And I'm gonna get into the passing game a little bit. It's something that caught my eye that was kind of, I won't say it was disturbing, but it had me scratching my head a little bit and wondering what's going on there. And that's the Pitts Mariota connection. And here's the thing. And going back to your question, what happens with a running football team, and you're sitting in the meeting on Wednesday and you get the game plan and you're sitting there in the offense and your offensive coordinator going, this week we're going to pound it, pound it, pound it. We need to get 200 yards rushing. We
yeah.
need to control the clock, control the clock. Me as a receiver, I'm looking around and going, am I in the right meeting room? Maybe I need to gain 20 pounds and become a running back. So you sit there and you're uninterested. You know you're going to throw the ball 15 times a game, maybe 10 to 15 times, and you're going, I'm not going to be involved much at all. So guess what? You go through the motions in practice,
Hmm.
and then game time, you try to flip that switch, and it just doesn't happen. And that's across the league. I tell you, I played in a running offense with Jamal Anderson the year
Yeah.
he ran for 1,800 yards. But the difference was this: I felt that for me to stay involved in the game, I had to block. And I was involved in the blocking game and whatsoever. And then at the end of the day, I knew when I said, when we throw the ball, I need to get open and make plays because I don't know when I'm going to catch another ball.
You're right.
So that was the thing for us. We knew that Tony Martin, myself, OJ Santiago, Tim Dwight, we knew that when we did throw the ball, we were going to be open and successful because of that running game.
Hmm.
So, and Chris Chandler was far better quarterback than is a far better quarterback than Mariota.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. If we had to throw it 35 times a game, we can do it and do it effectively. And here's the thing: we don't know yet because at some point, I feel that it's going to come a time that we're going to have to throw the ball 30 to 40 times a game. And I'm not saying we can't do it, but I'm curious if we can do it. It makes sense.
No, 100%.
So that's where I am with that. And I know I'm rambling and rambling, but I need to get all this out.
No, that's fine.
Going back to Mariota and Pitts, it seemed like there was confusion on where they were supposed to be.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, here's what I say about that is this. And I knew when we played, we knew when we put in a play that was a big play. Plays like when you throw deep balls down the sideline or over routes or post routes. What we did as receivers after practice and and after conditioning, we got with the quarterback and we ran those routes
Yeah.
because each guy runs them differently. Each guy's angle is differently whatsoever. So we ran routes, deep routes, new routes that we put in the game plan that week over and over again so the quarterback can feel where we are, the speed, the angles, whatsoever. And I'm not saying they're not doing that, but it looks like to me they're not doing enough of that. And that's the thing. Okay, you're a running football team, but at the same time, when you throw the ball, you got to be effective. When you throw the ball deep, you got to make those plays. So uh, I'm not saying they're not doing it, but if they're not doing it, that's something I think they should be doing more of, so they can understand each other's body language whatsoever. Because here's an example. Uh, I asked Chris one time. We was watching film, and he was throwing balls before he even got out my route. And I asked him a question. I says, "How did you know to let the ball go there?" And he says, "We've been together so long. There's a little twitch that you have at the top of the route that tells me it's time for me to throw the football."
Mm.
That's if you don't get that work after practice or before practice, you can't know each other.
Yeah.
Chris knew when I did something at the top of the route, it was time to release the ball to where it needed to be. And he trusts me to get where I was supposed to be. So right now there's a disconnect and they're off a little bit um, in that respect. And I think that they need to maybe talk a little bit more, watch film a little bit more, and practice it a little bit more. So because that connection could be very crucial at the end of the season.
Yeah, it's that's a great point you bring up, and it also reminds me of the training camp days of this year. And we were talking about them airing it out at the open practices and things like that, which they did.
Mhm.
But it seems like you said, they don't really do that probably at practice much. They're probably
Well,
focused on.
and you can kind of go back to is Pitts really healthy from that hamstring?
Mhm.
You can that could be part of it because he looks kind of awkward right now, like he's laboring a little bit. That you know he's stumbling over his feet a little bit, and that's a cause of dragging that foot because you can't accelerate because something is wrong, a hamstring or a groin or a hip or something like that. So I don't know if he's laboring, still hurting to the fact of that hamstring and scared to pull it and open it up. But he just looked uncomfortable running to me on Sunday. And I know people saying you being critical, but that's what I do. I'm not just a fan watching the game. I watch every aspect of the game. How can we get better? What are the things that are stopping us from being the best that we can be?
Yeah.
And that's the approach we've had when we played. When when a coach, I remember a coach telling us, he says, "I'm not getting on you and I'm not pointing you out." He says, "Don't think I'm dogging you, but what I'm doing is telling you the things that are stopping you from being the best that you can be, which entails going to stop us from being the best that we can be." So, and that's the way I coach. So that's the thing. And if now we got to go back to in that meeting room with the coaches, are they pointing out these things? Are they suggesting these things? Are they seeing these things? And I want to hopefully say I hope so because they're
Yeah.
professionals. So there we are. And it leads us up into the Thursday night game, which is tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sorry, and on the passing, Drake London, I don't want the kid to worry about that. That was Khalil Mack that stripped that
Right,
ball from him.
right,
Khalil
right,
Mack will do that to some of the all pros that's
right.
been in the league.
Right.
I'm
And
sure
and I,
he.
and I understand what he was doing. He wanted to be physical.
Mhm.
Everybody tells him he's a big physical receiver and he should dominate smaller receivers. And we talked about this after he got drafted when people said, "Oh, he's so physical. Look how he goes over top of people whatsoever." And I said, "Oh, yeah, that's good for college corners. But when
Yeah.
you get to the NFL, these corners, they may not be as tall, but they're very strong and
Mhm.
they're very cagey." And you've seen that a couple of times on a back shoulder throw where he had to get up and the DB
Yeah.
was up there with him, had his body on him and up there with him. And then you've seen it on the catch when he turned up, the DB stood him up. and then the other came in, and he was worried about it, and Mac pulled the ball. And there's something I noticed, and I wish I was in their meeting room.
Mhm.
There's something I noticed there about every time he catches the ball in the middle of the field in that area and turns into the middle of the field. When he catches the ball is always on his stomach after he catches it. He catches
Mhm.
it and put it like this. He never catches, he rarely catches it and put it, tuck it away and hold it tight. And it's
Mhm.
always like he catches it and he bends over and the ball is right there. And that's something as a coach that I would point out and says, hey, when we're playing catch, hey, catch the ball, watch it in, tuck it away. Catch the ball, watch it in, tuck it away. Catch the ball, watch it in, tuck it away. And that's something that we talk about every day. Catch the ball, tuck it in, and make sure you got it secure before you even turn up or do anything else with the football. But at the end of the day, look, these guys are not getting enough touches in games to feel where pressure is, to feel how to really understand catching the ball and getting it away. They're so excited that I finally caught a ball. Let me go make a play. So I'm not like I said, I'm not getting on him whatsoever. I'm just pointing out things that's going to help him get better, which is going to help this team get better.
And I know that the team you're playing dictates, what you're going to call and things of that nature. But it just seemed like offensively, the Falcons had a lot more for their next opponent, the Panthers, than they did for the Chargers.
Right,
There was a lot more airing it out, and I just didn't see that as much. I didn't see the creativity that
right.
maybe I saw the week before.
Yeah. Well, I here's the thing, and I said this to someone. It felt like to me that the Falcons went in that game saying we're, expecting them, saying we're
Win.
gonna win.
Yeah.
They went in the game saying, "Oh, we're gonna win," but it was because they played like, "Oh, we're gonna beat this team." It wasn't like a sense of urgency. It
Mhm.
makes sense. It
Oh,
wasn't a
yeah,
sense of
correct.
urgency. Defensively, I thought we did some things uncharacteristic. We played a lot of man. I guess we thought because some of their guys were out
Receivers were out. Yeah.
that we can do that, but we found out that their guys were faster than our guys.
Yes.
their their tight end was better than what we thought he was. So uh, it is what it is, man. So
Wait.
you got to put this. It's a short week. You don't even watch this film. To tell you the
Mhm.
truth, because it's such a short week. You tell them, hey, watch it on your own after practice. Come in on do it Monday after meetings, or do it Tuesday night,
Mhm.
whatever. This film you really don't watch. You talk about it, but then you got a quick turnaround and have to play a division opponent. So your focus right now, as we focused on the Chargers last week, the focus right now for them is to beat Carolina tomorrow.
Yeah, so in saying that, I guess we'll go ahead and move on too, because like
Right,
you said, I'm sure the viewers want to know what's going on next. So yeah, we take on the Carolina Panthers. That's twice in 3 weeks. We just had that cardiac game the first week where they missed 2 field goals
hmm,
after the helmet was taken off in the end
right,
zone.
right,
So, and they still have a lot of dysfunction. They fired
right,
some coaches this past
right,
week again. They
right,
pulled PJ Walker in the game against Cincinnati and put Baker
right,
Mayfield in.
right.
So I don't really know what we can expect from the Panthers side of things. Hopefully, the Falcons can string together a good 4 quarters of football and dominate them more so than they did here in Atlanta.
Right. Here you're going on a road on a Thursday night. Uh, Baker Mayfield is probably will be the starter,
Mhm.
and it's Thursday night football, and you got an interim head coach. They felt they let one slip away here in Atlanta. They feel that this is the Atlanta team that is beatable, that we can beat them. Their running game was strong. They made some big plays in the passing game. Um, Defense gave up some plays on their end whatsoever. And I truly think that they last weekend they were looking
To this
for
game.
this game,
Yeah.
and that's why they got blown out. So this is going to be one of those games again. It's going to come down to whoever has the ball last will win the football game. That's what it's going to come down to. And even though I feel we're a much better football team,
Yeah.
I, I just think that, you know, here's a chance to win another divisional game and stay right there in the division race. You can't afford to drop this one. It's gonna look bad for the rest of the season if you drop this one. So this is here it is. It's from here on out. It's playoff football.
Yeah.
It's playoff football. Every game counts. You can't afford to drop a game. So right now, you need to be focusing in and saying one game at a time. Let's win this one and don't worry about the rest of them. Let's win this one. It's playoff time. I hate to say it, halfway through the season, it's playoff time. You put yourself in a situation where you're below 500, but you can get yourself back up to 500, and now you're fighting for your playoff life. So now every game has to feel like a playoff, and you got to play it like, and you got to coach it like, and you got to prepare like it's a playoff game.
And it's looking like the playoffs is going to be totally based on the Falcons winning the division. It doesn't
Exactly.
seem like they're going to have a shot at getting in the wild card with how
Right.
those top NFC teams are playing.
Right.
So the
Exactly.
Falcons are going to have to, and it's going to come down to between them and Tampa. I think it's pretty much over for the Saints and
Right.
Carolina. I may be speaking too soon, but I think it's
Right.
going to come down between Atlanta and Tampa, and it could come down to that last game of the year.
Yes, it could be, and that's now that would be great. I would love to see that one. But the Falcons control their destiny from here on
Mhm.
out, and sometimes when you're a young football team and with a new coach, a second year coach, that this is where you want to be.
Mhm.
You want to see where you are and what you made of. At the end of the day, and because it's building blocks for the next season, and then you can understand. You can look back and says, where do we need to retool? Where do we need to put more emphasis at? Not rebuild. Don't worry about the salary cap, all those things. What people are talking about, we're gonna have more salary cap number next year. Blah blah blah. You're already talking about next year. Here's you remember when I went on to that rant about if you're not trying to win right now
Mhm.
in the National Football League, you should not be in a football league
Okay.
because at the end of the day, you're not guaranteed your job next year.
Mhm.
So you have to try to win now, and because it's unpredictable. You Frank Wright in Indianapolis, that was a shock to me. Here it is. So the thing is, you we're thinking that, oh, everybody's safe, we're secure, whatsoever, but you never know.
Yeah.
So you can't be thinking about next year. It's about this day, tomorrow, and the day after. You got to take it one day at a time, one game at a time, and then whatever happens at the end of the season happens at the end of the season.
It should be a lot of Falcon fans up there tomorrow in Charlotte. I know
Oh
there's a
yeah,
large group of fans traveling. It's a short trip, so hopefully the Falcons can kind of have somewhat of a crowd up there supporting them, and they can pull out this victory because the Bucks they take on Seattle in Seattle this week. That is a team
yeah.
we beat, but
Ooh,
that Seattle team's tough right now. They
they're
really are.
tough right
So
now. Yeah,
this is another opportunity
right.
for the Falcons to get right back where they fell from last week.
I don't see Tampa Bay winning this game in Seattle. I
I
just
agree.
don't see it. So this is a crucial game. Here it is. You win tomorrow night against the Carolina Panthers. It puts all the pressure on Tampa to win in Seattle on Sunday, and they're
Absolutely.
gonna know that. And that's where you want them to be. You want them to be pressured to win football games. You don't want it to be easy for them to go out and say, well, we got this division locked up. No, let's put pressure on them. Make them
Mhm.
win every game because hopefully we can find a few more in our arsenal and win a division. And as I said, the most the the record, the overall record is not that important unless you're talking about seeding in the
Yeah,
playoffs. But I always said win a division and it guarantees you a playoff spot. And
absolutely.
then the number of wins guarantee you where you play and who you play. So that's more important than the overall record. Let's win the division.
Yeah, win that division and then have a home playoff game.
Yeah.
Perfect. What you got for us in the show today?
You know what? I'm I'm gonna try to be careful with this one whatsoever because, as you know, we had the elections
Mhm.
here in Georgia, and all looked at all the commercials and all the ads and all the rhetoric on social media whatsoever. These things, and and here it is for me and my household. Uh, we always look at the candidate that's best for everybody. We pray that God puts forth a candidate to represent his values and the values of everybody. If we just vote on it's all if we just vote on if you just go for a party,
Mhm.
I'm Democratic and I'm Republican, no matter who the candidate is, you're just gonna vote the party even though you may not know,
Mhm.
and you probably do know that he's not the best for the job.
Right.
Makes sense? So going that route, here's the thing that me and my household, it doesn't matter to me who's in office or who's in the seat, because the one that's in the ultimate seat is God Himself, who is my president, and Jesus Christ is my vice president, and the Secretary of State is the Holy Spirit. So with those three in charge, I cannot fail. I cannot go hungry. I cannot be in poverty. I cannot have lack because I trust and have my faith in them.
Mhm.
And whoever you put in office, it doesn't matter to me because I know where my power source is. That's the party I represent right there, the kingdom. There you go.
Right on.
Yeah.
Again, everyone, thank you for always tuning in. Falcons, go win this game tomorrow night. Let's get it
Yes,
back in.
sir. Yes, sir.